She's a keynote speaker, an author, and the founder of Ignite Your S.H.I.N.E. Yes, I'm talking about the most amazing LaVonna Roth. I'm so excited to have her on the show. And once we get started, you'll see exactly why I'm so excited. LaVonna supports leaders like you in uncovering your inner strengths, leading with greater alignment, and building genuine connection with those that you lead and serve. She's going to help you lead in a way that reflects exactly who you are while amplifying your confidence. LaVonna is going to talk to us today about her signature S.H.I.N.E framework. And my conversation with LaVonna was so amazing that we talked long enough that I was able to turn it into 2 episodes. So you'll notice that last week, there were actually 2 really short episodes, Wednesday and Friday. But this week, instead of a midweek power surge, you're going to get a full episode on Wednesday and a full episode on Friday. So let's get started. Hi, friend. Are you ready to move into a leadership position? Do you have interests and ambitions that you want to pursue, but feel like you don't know how to take that next step? Maybe you want to start your own coaching or consulting agency. I'm Mel, and I help educators define their career path through correct mindset, knowing your options, and getting prepared for your career transition. I will show you how to level up your leadership skills, share your expertise in a new way, create impact on a larger scale, and put your leadership in motion. As an educator for over 20 years, I started to feel underused and like I had more to give. I knew when the time had come for me to leave the classroom and affect change on a larger level. Now, I'm ready to help you determine where your talents and skills mesh with your passions and interests. Put your leadership in motion and move into that next phase of your educational career journey. Let me help you define your career path by having the right mindset, knowing your options, and getting prepared for that next leadership position. So power up and put your leadership in motion. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I am your host, Dr. Mel. Today, I have a special guest with me. It has been a while since I've had a guest. I have LaVonna Roth from Ignite Your S.H.I.N.E, and she is coming to us from sunny Florida. At least I think it's probably sunny there. It is not sunny here today, so I don't know if it's sunny down there, but I'm going to pretend it is because that's where I need my brain to be at this moment. Some sunshine, because it's been cloudy and gloomy here all day, and I got a little bit of a cloud headache going on. Welcome to the show, LaVonna.
Thank you, Dr. Mel. And I will just tell you, wink, wink, it's storming outside. It's definitely not sunny.
Oh, doggone it. Okay, you shouldn't have told me that, but I'm still going to pretend it's sunny down there. So,
it really is sunny. It really is.
In my mind, it's Florida, and it's always sunny in Florida. So I know that's not the case, but it is today. So.
No, it actually is sunny. I was totally, yes, I'm messing with you. It's okay. Beautiful. It is beautiful. Yes.
Perfect. See, she ignites my shine. There you go. I love it. So LaVonna, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and why you do it.
Oh, why I do it. I hope we have an hour at least. So LaVonna, who was a teacher for 10 years and ended up going and getting my educational leadership master's degree as the second master's. And so I know that we have a lot of new to aspiring leaders are on this, like listening to this podcast.
Yes.
And it was one of those that administrators kept telling me, LaVonna, go get your master's in educational leadership. And I was like, I don't want to do that. So my first one, I did not listen, and I got a master's in the art of teaching, and then went, you know what? I think I do want this. Mm-hmm. And so I went back and got it. And my path led to doing other things, working for corporations and businesses and startups, and anywhere from being laid off during one of those times to another time being cussed out, screamed at, and found out I was the 8th person in 10 months to leave that, like be in that position.
Right.
And I just thought, you know what? This is not leadership to me. This is not what I deserve. and I jumped. And so that was back in 2008. And so here we are. And a lot of what I do is has to do with being out speaking and keynoting, which I love the impact. I love afterwards when people have it come up and say, this part I needed to hear, and then this part resonated with me. And oh, I thought I was the only one. And that taps into my why. It's
Mm-hmm.
not for them and the accolades to come up by any means. It's the heartfelt messages and connection that we can make as humans that I just thrive on, because I'm actually somebody who gets really shy and at times. And so to be on the stage, I never thought in a million years I would speak in front of up to 5,000 a few times now, and never thought that
Wow.
would be me. Yeah, at all.
Yeah.
So I created the Shine message, and that's what we just try to really work within that framework and live within that.
Okay. So what does shine mean?
Yeah. So Shine was not originally Shine. I was going after smart in education
Mm-hmm.
and how we define smart. And we love to put people, in this case, it happens to be kids, into a box of reading, writing, math, and science. And I started working more with adults, and adults kept saying, but I needed this. And it was because I had shifted the message of smart to how do we shine, and it's applicable in the way of, in this case, like thinking about going into leadership, and how do you own
Mm-hmm.
your own shine, and how do you support others to shine as well. And so S in the acronym of Shine is self. And we talk about what are your strengths, gifts, skills, and talents. So under self, it's everything you can think of. It includes, how is your thinking going, and what is your self-care like anything that you are needing as self. But our biggest focus is what are the strengths, gifts, skills, and talents, because I want you to recognize what you're good at doing and stop focusing on so much of what you're not good at doing. And then in leadership, you get to have people who complement, complement the work that you have, the strengths that you have, to be able to really accelerate. Now, the rest of it, I'm going to get much faster on. The S, though, is such a big meat with self.
Right.
H is heart. What are you passionate about? What do you love to do? What gives you that energy? What fires you up and what drains you? I in Shine is inspire. So, how do you inspire yourself? How do you inspire others? And because life is going to throw the curveballs, we know that more than ever.
Yes.
And is going to be navigate. And it's you putting everything into action that I've been describing. So, the strengths and the passions and inspiration, but what does it actually look like? What do you want it to look like? And how do you create those goals and the life that you want? And then E is exceptional, because you are becoming the exceptional person, leader, family member, colleague, you fill in that blank, but the exceptional person you were meant to be, not anybody else. And this is where we encourage putting the mirrors down professionally and personally so that you can shine in who you are.
I love that. I love all of those, definitely. And it's really more of a whole person perspective. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
our church that we develop the whole person, and that's like their whole big motto and everything. And I love how that just encompasses everything. And a couple of your words in there are similar or the same as mine for my Ignite framework, which is educator to entrepreneur. So, but it works for anything. So we got some like-mindedness here. Definitely.
Exactly. Like, I love that you said the whole person part, because I don't usually reference that, but that's exactly what it is. It's kind of like if you take a bunch of disciplines or concepts together, where it's whole person, it's well-being, it's for the brain sciences, from cognitive science to even psychological safety, regular psychology, all those positive psychology is definitely playing in there. And we look at emotional intelligence, like it's what I didn't realize at the time I was happening, but it's
Mhm.
just a culmination of a bunch of disciplines or concepts.
Exactly. And the reason that it resonated with me in that way is because I'm actually taking from, not stealing exactly, because that's the church model, but I'm taking kind of the same or a similar framework
Yeah,
and doing my own framework with that for education for teachers and
yeah,
or educators, not just teachers, but educators. And
yeah.
so that's why it resonated so quickly with me as whole person.
Yes. No, that makes sense. And so what does Ignite stand for you?
So Ignite is actually my entrepreneur end of things. So the framework I'm working on, which I haven't polished it yet. So it's a work in progress, because
Yeah.
like this epiphany just came to me a week or so ago. So I'm working it out, but it's going to pull in that whole person, all of the different things, even financial and those kind of things, because I'm in a lot of Facebook groups because I want to hear what teachers are saying, because that helps me mold the show and know where to go with different things. I hear a lot of teachers talking about, yeah, I got to get a second job. We are working all day long, and people do not understand how hard it is to be a teacher with kids all day and then have to figure out how to pay the bills on top of that. So
Yeah.
I'm pulling in all of those kind of things, social, emotional, definitely, physical well-being, all of that. So I'm working through what that's going to look like, and I've got a pretty good framework going. And by the time this episode comes out, I'm hoping it is ready to go, polished, and I can roll it out to the world. So,
Yes. I find for me, it's always evolving,
yes,
discovering new
yes.
things and ideas and going, okay, that is what is like elevates this, or that's why this complements that. And so it's really cool.
hmm
So I'm excited for you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Working on a few different things because, as you and I were talking before, I am ready to move into like doing workshops, speaking on a different level. I do consulting, but that's very teacher based, how we can grow the teachers. But I want to expand what that looks like and really kind of focus a little bit more. I'm not leaving my teachers because I love teaching teachers, but I want to focus on how can leaders be better leaders and what does that look like for them?
Yes. Well, it's interesting when you say that too. Like, and I find this mostly in the educational field that we say, well, I'm not leaving. Like, I'm not. And there's this whole piece of like, I just want you to know, I love the teacher part, or I love working with educators
hmm
part, I'm not totally leaving. And I think that like I had a mindset of, I really felt because I left when I was teaching sixth grade geography.
hmm
I actually left during the school year, which I thought I would never do. First of all, I didn't ever see me leaving unless to move into administration.
hmm
Definitely didn't see leaving my students. And I had a ton of guilt around that. And what are you
Yes.
doing? And maybe you should wait to the end of the year. But the job that I was looking at doing wasn't going to wait for me. And so
Right.
I had to make that decision. It was a very hard one. But then as life has evolved and things have moved, what I've realized is that I still get the privilege, and that's exactly how I look at it, is in the opportunity to still work with educators at times. I go across all industries,
hmm
but working with educators that specifically leadership is where our focus is. But at the same time, those leaders impact the adults, and those adults impact the families and the students.
Yes.
So for me, I had to also make that shift of, yes, I know you feel guilty about leaving the students that you have right now, but there's also this other layer of impact that you can make too. And that really
Right.
helped me with that shift.
Yeah. So I've actually not been in the classroom since 2016. I've moved into leadership a long time ago. So when I said leaving, I just mean like I'm not abandoning this podcast. I'm not leaving the work that I do as an educational consultant going into schools and teaching teachers and helping teachers with their instructional mastery. I still love that. I'm just adding to, which is crazy. I know, because I tend to be that person who takes on too much. And I'm like, holy cow, I got to take a step back. But I'm working this out so I can actually pare down a little bit in other areas. So
Yeah.
definitely.
No, like I said, I'm excited for you. It's a journey. And I should clarify that I know you weren't saying that. For me, what I heard that I thought was just, I really hope others are listening to this part, is the number of
Yes.
people that do feel guilty about saying that, well, I want to leave or I want to go and I can't. So I should have clarified that. But yes.
Yes. And I'm glad you did. And as I was speaking, I was thinking, yeah, she's probably talking to the audience too, because we do have, I know there's some aspiring leaders in here, some aspiring administrators, I should say. If you're in the classroom, you're a leader in
Oh,
some
yes.
capacity or another. But I have some aspiring administrators because that's what this show is for, is aspiring and new building leaders. And some of them do feel guilty about leaving the classroom. But when you are thinking, is it time? If you're thinking, is it time? It's probably time, because if that thought's already in your head, God's already put it there for a reason, because he was preparing you to get ready to exit and do the next thing for him, because we are all servant leaders. And that's what he's really talked to me a lot about this past week in my devotionals and things that I've heard on the radio and TV shows and talking to other people. And he has really impressed upon me servant leadership, servant leadership. Be patient. I've got something for you, but continue to work while you're waiting.
Yes. So have that trust.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Coming.
Absolutely.
I think those are valuable messages. I want to thank you too for having this podcast because I think it's so critically important for those that are aspiring to have a foundation, to hear other thoughts, to
Mm-hmm.
know that other people do have challenges at times, but we get through it and we figure it out. And at the same time, going back to that voice, like trust that voice too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's so powerful. Like we start to second guess ourselves, but am I qualified enough? Or I had a conversation today. I was coaching a leadership team virtually, and we had the conversation today. Like, but I'm not. Am I credible yet? Because I don't have that piece
Right.
yet. And I'm like, well, the skill
Yes,
set hasn't changed. The knowledge is changing always, and so is the skill set. But that piece of paper isn't where it's like, ta-da, you're suddenly credible. You were credible before,
exactly.
but having that confidence and that belief.
Yes, yes, yes. We all suffer from imposter syndrome at some time or another. Get over it. I just recorded an episode. It's one of my power surges on Wednesday, and it is God does not call the equipped, he equips the called. And so he's already called you to service, and he's going to give you what you need. You have all of these experiences, you have all your life experiences, you have all of the skills, the passion, the interest, all of those things that you've already been honing and sharpening along the way. Now's the time to use them.
Yes, go. Are you listening? Are you listeners? Are you listening? Like,
Yes, exactly. Go. That was
yes,
exactly what my message was. Go. Do
yes,
not sit here. Go and do what you have the knowledge to do, because he didn't give you this knowledge just to sit. He didn't give you this knowledge for your own benefit. Yes, you can benefit from it, but that's to help you grow and be more of a servant leader.
yeah. So when did you know to leave the classroom? Like, what was that voice or?
It was during my last couple of years in the classroom. I'd gotten my administration certification, and I'm like, I don't really want to be a principal when I got it, but I'm like, I'll keep it just in case. And so it just kind of sat there. And after I got it, it was a little quicker than I had expected because I loved being a teacher. But I started to critique my principals and professional development and things that I was seeing. And once I started critiquing other people, those in leadership, then I'm like, okay. And not all of it was negative critiques. There were some great things. And I was thinking, man, this is a great person. I love what they're saying. I want to follow in their path one of these days. And that's when I really started thinking, okay, it's time to start thinking about my next steps as an educator. My second to last year in the classroom, oh my gosh, it was probably my roughest year I have ever had in my entire life. And
Mm,
that was God saying, hey, it's time to go. It's time to go. Because I almost didn't go back that last year because I'm just like, I don't think I can do this one more year. I don't think I have the heart or the capacity to do what I did last year. But I didn't have a job. I hadn't gotten a principal position yet. And so I went back in one last year, the best year of my life. And he's like, okay, I gave you that hard year to
wow.
get you going. And I gave you that last year to say, all right, it's okay. I don't want you to like quit education altogether. I just needed to kick you out the door. And so that's when I knew. So 2016, I got my first principal position, and I have loved it ever since.
Oh, congratulations. That tells you that you're in the right spot.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
does. It does. And he reaffirms that for me every day. So
oh, good, good.
yeah. So let's talk about your message for today. What is it that you want to bring to my audience, my aspiring or my new leaders who just really need some words from LaVonna, and how can we ignite their shine in any way?
Yes. So I'm going to go back to what you said because I work a lot with women in leadership,
Mm-hmm.
and the words imposter syndrome pop up a lot. And I know that we see it on social media and it's a hot topic, but I don't see a lot of progress being made there. When I talk to other people, like, yes, I know. Why can't I get rid of imposter syndrome? And I realized gosh, it was probably a month or so ago that we were talking about imposter syndrome at an event I was at. And I stood there going, why do I not have imposter syndrome? And I thought about it and I went, holy cow, I used to. I used to
Yeah.
have imposter syndrome. So where was that bridge? And I will say that I came up in my head going, it has a lot to do with the actual shine, and so because our focus is so much, and really it's Gallup research says that a strength of yours will remain a strength, but your weaknesses will never get to the level of a strength.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, like if our strengths are, you could put your hand up higher in the air and use your other hand, for example, to even like wave up and down, you're going to fluctuate, but you're not actually going to get to the level of a strengths unless you've really put in, like, I'm going to throw this out there, the 10,000 hours or whatever,
Right. Exactly.
obviously it's not always 10,000 for everybody.
Right.
It could be less, it could be more, but you're working your way to being better. And I realize that I have really stepped into with like, this is what I'm good at doing. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'm even the best, but I do know I'm actually good at this. And so when somebody else has something that I'm not good at doing, I used to sit there and go, why can't I be good at that? And I used to beat myself up over
Mm-hmm.
mentally about what is your, like, why can't you do this? You need to work harder. Well, maybe you shouldn't be doing it. Maybe you shouldn't be in that position. And I like would talk myself out of things and then talk myself back into things. But it would go through this whole process, which was a pain. And so now it's you don't have to have what they have. And
Right.
when we come together, that's the beauty of this. It's almost like harmoniously, like a symphony. I'll put a harmony. That's what I'm looking for, like harmony, because we get a chance to really support each other. And I could come to you, Dr. Mel, and say, I am not good at this part. How about you? And if you're great at it or good at it, whatever your confidence level is with that, and saying, hey, I can gladly take that on. If not, we
Mm-hmm.
find somebody else who can. And that's to me where the team comes in, a staff working together. And so if you are newer to administration and leadership, then are you having and building a team or a network around you that gives you that opportunity? And that it's that like-mindedness of support. And so it doesn't mean everybody has to agree and be in the same space and same place, but
Mm-hmm.
do you have the understanding that I don't have to be good at everything? So that was one of my biggest things that I let down for myself to let go. And then the second part is that I relied, and this goes way back to childhood and a lot of things that happened in my life. I was very much into people pleasing and I was also into perfectionism. And I realized that I relied so much on what other people were saying about me. And it was often good, like really good things, but I was living for that, which is praise. And so I just kept
Yes.
thinking until I hear like, what, well, if somebody doesn't say anything, then okay, am I not good? Maybe I shouldn't be doing it. Okay, LaVonna, like you should. And all the self-talk would come in instead of me starting to say to myself, not in an arrogant way. I hope you all are understanding and listening. This is not arrogance. I'm talking confidence. They're two very different concepts. So if we have the confidence though to say, like, it's okay. Like I am good at this. This is something I enjoy. And having the internal building up of me, not looking for external sources, I would say those were the two biggest switches for me. And so
That,
that's what I
yeah.
encourage you all listening to tap into too.
Right. And as you were talking, I was taking notes. Two things popped up in my thinking. When you let go of trying to get better at something that you're probably only going to be mediocre at because it's not your strength, because you have other strengths that God has given you, it's almost freeing because then you're like, okay, I don't have to be great at this because I just don't have to because I'm really good at this or I'm really great at this. And so it kind of takes a little bit of a load off of your shoulders when you get into that mindset. But then you were talking about you weren't getting praise for some of the things. And so then your imposter syndrome started to creep in and, okay, I'm not good enough. But then I'm thinking on the flip side of that, because, and this has been a growth area of mine. So don't think that this is just, oh, Dr. Mel is so great at knowing things. No, this has been a struggle for me because I've always looked for some of that external praise too.
Mhm.
Guess what? Other people are not always focused on you. They have their own problems. They have their own imposter syndromes. They have their own things going in life. And it's not that they don't think that you are good at something or they wish that they could do that same thing. It's because, well, they have other focuses besides you. That is kind of freeing in itself as well, knowing, okay, yeah, I didn't get any accolades for that, but they have their own stuff. They have their own struggles. They have things. They have a life. And guess
You
what?
just,
It's not me.
yeah.
Their life is not about me.
Yes, I think you nailed a lot of this. Like the fact that if you're having these thoughts, like how can I can't be better at this, or how come I'm not good at that? Those people that you're looking at and thinking, my gosh, they have it all. Like they have it all together. They're
Mm-hmm.
so confident. They're so this, they're so that. They don't either. They have the same thoughts, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So, but we don't talk about it, which is why for me, I am so much more vulnerable than I've ever been. And I
Mm-hmm.
want to talk about some things that people aren't comfortable talking about. And that's fine. We don't have to talk about it. But I do want to talk about for those who need it and sit there and go, you know what? It's not only me. So, how do
Right.
I move forward with my one life that I'm given? And the other thought that came to mind too is I remember I was in a job and I was out with my boss and we were at this event and he said, "Oh my goodness, there's the commissioner of education." And he said, "I wish that we could just ask her whatever it was. I don't remember what this was." And I was like, "Oh, do you want me to just go ask her?" And he goes, "What?" Now, mind you, again, I am someone who's actually really shy, but I
Mm-hmm.
remember somebody at some point saying to me, and you all have heard some version of this, but they put their underwear on the same way you do, right? Like
I
they
love that.
all, it's the same, but
Mm-hmm.
yet we get so much like, no, like they're celebrity or there's somebody that I shouldn't be talking to, or am I good enough to talk to? And so I remember I walked over, asked her, thanked her and all that, came back. And I remember my boss saying to me, "I cannot believe you had the courage to do that." And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, now that I'm actually thinking about it, oh, what was I what was I thinking? But
Right.
she didn't think twice about it. She answered
Right.
me. It was a great, quick little conversation. But had I been in my head about it, then I would not have had that opportunity to get whatever it is that we wanted to get, talk about. So,
Right, exactly. And she wasn't always the commissioner of education. She started somewhere else. And she was probably looking at the commissioner of education when she was not, thinking, man, I wish I could talk to that person. And now she's probably, as the commissioner, thinking, man, I wish people had talked to me. you know,
right.
so you
That's
have
how
to,
I feel. Yes,
right,
that's how I
right.
feel. Yes, yes. It's so funny because, people occasionally come up to me and say, I wanted to come say something to you, but I didn't want to bother you. Or I wanted to come up and say something, but I knew you were getting your food. I'm like, oh my gosh, like please. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want and so I try to take the same approach for other people too. That we all should be approachable. We all should be here for each other. And
Yes,
this is, I know my own
exactly.
opinion, but it is my opinion. It is what I value. And so I love talking to everybody and anybody because it's an opportunity to hopefully share some love with them and
Mm-hmm.
some insights maybe that might come into play. But then it's also the reverse. Like I grow and learn so much from the beauty of other people.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for part 1 of my conversation with LaVonna. I hope you come back to join us for part 2, which will be out on Friday. And she's going to go through so much more information. I cannot wait for you to hear part 2 of our conversation. So I will see you back here, same time, same place on Friday. Bye-bye.